Mind if I test my want to go? No, if you want to come, I guess I'm doing the ramp, right? No.
Good morning. Welcome to the 156th commencement at Drew University. The procession will begin shortly. Please silence all cell phones and mobile devices, and thank you for closing your umbrellas. We wish for a rain-free ceremony. Please also remain in your seats during the procession and the entirety of the program, even while taking photographs. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome. Whoa. Welcome to Drew Theo Commencement 2024. I am Tanya Lynn Bennett, Associate Dean of Vocation and Formation in the Theological School and University Chaplain. It is a good morning as we gather today to celebrate, especially to celebrate you, the graduating class of 2024. As we gather this morning, let's join our hearts and minds in a centering moment. This is a time for asking and forgiving. On this morning that is like none we've ever known before, a morning of going forth from this place to the beyond, we ask for blessings. Blessings on who we've become and for who we have yet to be. We ask for guidance to lead our paths into the places that call to us, that need us, places where our great passion meets the world's deep hunger. We ask for wisdom that invites us to dig deep into ourselves, to gaze at all we have to give, the goodness of us, brought to a universe that craves our compassion and our wonder. You have loved us so well, Creator One, that you have given us the freedom to add our own color, tone, note, and step to the joyful clamor of humanity. This is a time for giving, a time for discovering and uncovering who we are made to be for just such a time as this. A time to dip into the unknown places where we will find how each of us has been made just once, unique on purpose. To tease out our own expressions of the holiness you have birthed inside of us. Direct us as we act out our roles in the divine drama that is human life with authenticity and truth. This is a time like none we've ever had before or will ever have again. We praise you for this moment and walk boldly into the next, knowing you are always with us and that we are your beloved gift to the world. May it be so. You may be seated.
Good morning. It is my honor to welcome you to these commencement exercises for the Drew University Theological School class of 2024. As you all know, this is my first commencement as Drew's president, and it is therefore incredibly meaningful for me to be here celebrating with you today. Today is about celebrating each and every one of you for all your hard work, your successes, and for the completion of your Drew degree. But it is really about so much more than that, which is in large part what makes Drew such a special community. This has been a challenging year in our world and on university campuses, but I continue to be inspired every day by how our campus has navigated these challenges overall. In spite of radical difference, you care deeply about each other and about creating a space for freedom of speech, for inclusion, for accepting others for who they are. That doesn't mean that we don't have our struggles, but I feel blessed and grateful to be leading this special community at this time, today more than ever. And speaking of grateful, I ask you all to take a moment to stand and recognize those standing and sitting behind you for whom you are grateful. Family members, friends, support networks, this is their day as well. So I ask you to recognize them. I also want to thank all of those from Drew who have worked so hard to make this ceremony a reality, who have gone above and beyond to create this meaningful celebration for your graduation. I want to recognize our faculty and staff, those mentors who have supported and challenged you on your journeys and who will stay in your lives far beyond your time here on our campus. In my 10 and a half months as president, I have been struck again and again, and as I've met with alumni around the country, whether they graduated 2 years ago or 50 years ago, whether they graduated from the College of Liberal Arts, from Casperson, or from the Theological School. And that is the special bond they feel and actively maintain with their professors, their mentors, the staff who have worked with them, all of those who influenced their lives while they were at Drew, who supported and cheered for them, guided and encouraged them, and challenged them to think critically, to question everything, and to be the best version of themselves. So my wish for you all today is that you maintain a connection to all the special people who have dedicated so much to your growth and education, and who will, I guarantee you, continue to root you on from afar. My other wish for you today is that you always feel that Drew is your home, that you return, that you maintain connections, and that you reach back and do for those who will come after you what current students, graduates, and other alumni have done for all of you. Thank you.
It is our distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce to you our longtime friend, colleague, and co-laborer in the weedy vineyard of the United Methodist Church, Harriett Jane Olson, Esquire. Harriett holds a BA in History and Communications from Houghton University and a JD from Harvard Law School. But all of her professional and personal life has been given to applying her education, skills, training, and God-given gifts to do God's work in a complicated world.
In her career as a lawyer, Harriett specialized in environmental law, primarily to protect vulnerable land and people from exploitation by corporate and government bodies. She was called away from that career by the United Methodist Church, recruited to serve as the president of the then United Methodist Publishing House. It was in her role as the CEO of United Women in Faith, previously United Methodist Women, one of the most powerful, influential faith-based women's organizations in the world, that Harriett truly shone brightly. She was able to legally form UWF as its own nonprofit entity, which both protected its assets from use by other boards and agencies of the United Methodist Church, but also focused it keenly on the holistic well-being of women, children around the world, particularly regarding healthcare, economic justice, and environment concerns.
Harriett's true brilliance lies in her humility and the ways in which her thoughtful outspokenness subversively inspires trust, advances truth, and promotes justice. Harriett's most recent service to the UMC will be serving on the Judicial Council, the High Court of the United Methodist Church, which considers whether actions of various church bodies, including bishops, adheres to the Constitution and follows the rules outlined in the Book of Discipline. She was elected on the first ballot at this past General Conference two weeks ago, and will continue to serve faithfully to advance justice and promote the empowerment of our most vulnerable.
Harriett Jane Olson, creative colleague in the faith,
confidant, co-conspirator, and courageous leader of the church and society.
It is our great joy to welcome you to the podium and present you with this degree in recognition of your deep commitment to all of God's children.
Harriett Jane Olson, social justice activist, attorney, faith leader, and inspiration. Drew University Theological School is honored to celebrate your vital work and your limitless devotion. In your words, our work is not just about service, it's about worship. It's about standing up, stepping up, and making our voices heard. Today, we gather to recognize such inspirational and creative leadership. Your character, your excellence, and your extraordinary achievements, all human endeavors that reflect the ideals that we at Drew and Theo hold dear. It is our honor to present to you the Honorary Doctor of Divinity degree with deep gratitude and devotion. Harriett Jane Olson, by authority of the Board of Trustees of Drew University, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Divinity honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Olson.
Thank you, friends. President Link, Deana Ponte, trustees, faculty, families, friends, and graduates, I begin my remarks today by offering hearty congratulations to all of you who have completed your work and are receiving your degrees today. I'm honored to be part of this morning's program and humbled by being asked to share a few words with you at this very important moment. As I look back on a fairly unpredictable professional journey, I've realized that one thing that's common to all the twists and turns is wondering, maybe I can make a contribution. Maybe I can make a difference. I'm a white woman, now in my mid-60s, from a suburban area in South Jersey. I grew up as a child of the church, raised in Sunday school, vacation Bible school, singing in choirs, and coming to love God and love the world. Commitment to the environment seemed natural to me, as did engaging with others to try to make a cumulative impact. I wore a POW bracelet. I had stickers and patches of the ecology flag. You remember the ecology flag, some of you? And sometimes even carried my Bible to school. I actually don't remember how I first got interested in becoming a lawyer. I'm not from a family of lawyers, but I guess it seemed to me that lawyers learned how to get things done. I knew that lawyers were active in politics and in various areas of life. Through internships and clerking and a kind of process of elimination, I ended up back in New Jersey practicing real estate law. As it turned out, the month I started to work, the New Jersey legislature had just passed a statute requiring certain kinds of properties to be cleaned up in order to be transferred. When I joined the firm, I was instructed to learn the requirements and to make one of the early filings in that regulatory environment. This area of practice allowed me to represent the interests of our clients in moving the transactions forward and to participate in directing resources to environmental cleanup at the same time. It was a wonderful and satisfying practice. At the same time, in my local church, I soon connected with an active group of adults and youth engaged in the Appalachia Surface Project. ASP expresses the love of God by enlisting youth and adults in making homes in Appalachia warmer, safer, and drier. This took me far outside my comfort zone. I learned everything I could manage about the physical work of home repair, which came in handy when I owned my own old home eventually. I enjoyed wonderful moments of engaging with these young people and adults and reflecting on God's presence on our time together. But perhaps the most powerful part of the experience for me was sitting with women struggling to provide for their families in settings of overlapping injustice and marginalization. While I was aware of some of the history and the politics that created their situations, their quiet sharing about the impact on their own families is something I'll never forget. real sharing with people about the pains and joys of their lives and about their hopes and their dreams allowed us to hold our objectives for the work to be completed lightly and to hear their priorities for their homes and for their families. I would see over and over again at United Methodist Women, now United Women in Faith, how important this is, this listening, this sitting with people as a part of mission or service or advocacy. I suspect in your journey too, as you seek your own places to make a difference, you will be blessed with work outside your comfort zone that will shape and guide you in new ways. I hope that you too will connect to the pain and the joy of real people in a way that will stretch and change your work, and maybe even change your direction as you heed God's call. Because it's become somewhat more common for people to engage in multiple careers, you may be better prepared for changes of direction in your journeys than I was for mine. While I practiced in an area of law that allowed me to express my commitments, I did so with a growing sense of yearning for other ways to contribute. I became active in the annual conference, which is the local region of the United Methodist Church, and learned a lot in my involvement with work for women's justice and from service on boards and as a delegate to our general conference. When I was invited to consider working at the United Methodist Publishing House, I spent some time wondering if this was really a call for me. It seemed like a strange route to serve God that I had traveled so far. But I decided through the process of exploration that I would leave the partnership, move to the South, and take up a new set of challenges. Through my years of service at the publishing house, I realized that different parts of my experience were being called on. Teaching and learning in the church became part of my working life, rather than something I participated in as a volunteer. My high school Spanish became important as I engaged with Hispanic churches and editors of our Spanish language curriculum. My love for history became a window into the Wesley Studies aspect of our publishing. My commitment to putting my faith into practice and making a difference in the world was a place from which I engaged the development of adult and youth curriculum. So many connections, so many different ways of expressing faith, so many opportunities to make a contribution. My experience leads me to expect that for you too, twists and turns in your journey will connect with parts of your prior experience. And even when opening new doors, you may have a sense of coming home or coming full circle. Another thing that I began to more fully appreciate at the publishing house was the importance of people with very different gifts and inclinations in a team. We needed Christian educators, scholars, artists, musicians, and people gifted in layout and production, and who would take the practical work of producing, packaging, and shipping resources. We brought many different perspectives to the work, each of which were essential to an effective result. Wherever you serve from here, you will have a role in bringing teams together across many different kinds of specializations. And whether it's your gifting or not, it will be a gift to the team when you engage it. The importance of these different perspectives was even more apparent when I joined United Women in Faith. The work of this organization, which is the successor to the women's missionary efforts of the United Methodist Church, is vast. And it encompasses so many specializations that no one person can possibly have deep expertise in each area. It was a delight to me to visit and honor some of the community-serving institutions that the women support. It was powerful for me to connect to the designers of learning experiences. And it was eye-opening to engage in the array of advocacy issues which we addressed. Again, in this setting, the environment and climate is an area of emphasis, and it was a place where I had a sense of coming home. connecting with women and working for peace and justice at the United Nations, and with women and men working in other advocacy work in many places, gave me the opportunity to give voice to some of my long-held commitments. It also required me to learn and to listen to people who were steeped in particular aspects of the work. Again, listening to people's joys and pains was a powerful entry point. Because of the commitment of our predecessors, United Women in Faith own and steward the Church Center for the United Nations across the street from the UN in New York. Working across faith communities, we have given voice to issues affecting women and children, climate, peace with justice, and work with Indigenous peoples' voices, to name just a few. While I am not personally a policy expert in this broad array of issues, I was privileged to meet with people, including staff experts, and at times to give voice to our organizational commitment to making the world more loving and just. This morning, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge some of the pain which we have seen vividly portrayed every day, beginning on October 7th and continuing through the present in Israel and Palestine. One of the things I learned about the work of peacemaking and peace building is that while it is often engaged at a geopolitical level, it must come home and be carried out by men and women, especially women, who are committed to putting their hopes and dreams to work on behalf of their communities and especially on behalf of their children. The work of peace must involve the cessation of hostilities, but that alone will never be enough. The women of Israel and the women of Gaza must be engaged in the creation of something powerful and sustainable if the peace for which we fervently yearn is to prosper. Despite resolutions and the commitments of member states, it has been important over and over again for men and women to speak up, to insist on the inclusion of women in this peace process, and to call the parties involved to both principled action and practical steps. Because of my role at United Women in Faith, I've had the opportunity to speak up for women and girls and for all marginalized peoples in many areas of life. Working with women and men to draft a gender policy for the World Council of Churches, cooperating with our Commission on Status and Role of Women to lift up justice for women in the United Methodist Church, and at the schools and organizations around the country and around the world that are built on work our predecessors began. I'm grateful for the opportunity to engage in this work. I'm grateful for the long service of members of United Women in Faith that made it possible. And I'm grateful for the long and winding journey of learning, seeing, feeling, loving, grieving, and anger that I've undertaken in my efforts to express the love of God and love of neighbor as part of the United Methodist Church. Graduates, I pray that your journey will surprise you with joy and with challenge, and that when you look back over it in days to come, you will see that you found ways to make a difference, that you made a contribution. May we each continue working individually and collectively in the church and in this world that God so loves.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to now welcome our student speaker for today's commencement, Ms. Ye-Eun Kim, a Master of Divinity candidate. Congratulations, Ms. Kim.
Good morning, everyone. I wish to welcome everyone here this morning, my graduating colleagues, family members of the graduates, President Link, Bishop Shaw, Provost Lakin, deans, faculty, staff members, and guests. My name is Yeon Kim, and standing here before you all today is a great honor. I want to share my story with you, a story about personal growth and our collective journey. 3.5 years ago, I stepped onto the campus of Drew Theological School, a place that was far from my home in South Korea. I carried with me a suitcase of dreams and a quiet hope that I would find my voice in language that was not my own. I had aspirations of becoming a senior pastor, and I fully immersed myself in this new culture, despite the fears that haunted me about speaking English. Drew Theological School has become more than a place of academic pursuit. It was here that I underwent profound transformation. I arrived with a quiet voice, but this school has given me the space to find my confidence. I grew into my roles as a pastor, a student, as vice president of the Theological Student Association, and as the president of Korean Caucus. This is not a journey I have walked alone. It was made possible by a community that supported and believed in me at every step. Leading the Korean Caucus, I witnessed the resilient spirit and steadfast faith of my fellow Korean students. Together, we navigated the ups and downs of our academic and spiritual lives, drawing strength from our shared heritage and our collective trust in God. My time here is a tapestry of cherished memories, from the vibrant TSA events to the indispensable experience of being a chapel technician, and not least, the joy of finding my life partner in this nurturing environment. We have shared a path of fellowship, faith, and fortitude. One of the greatest lessons I have learned at Drew Theological School is that true growth often lies just outside our comfort zones. Embracing this place of uncertainty has been one of the best decisions I have ever made, and it is one that I have never looked back on with regret. This journey has made me stronger, teaching me the value of facing challenges, the thrill of new experiences, and the unshakable belief in my own potentials. As I move forward to serve as a pastor of the Community Church of Hoboken, the spirit of perseverance and faith that I have cultivated here at Drew will always be with me. Now, for the graduating class, I hope that you will be inspired to take brave steps into new chapters of your own stories. A thrilling journey awaits you, filled with promise and the unexpected. Welcome these experiences with open arms, for they will forge our strength and shape our character. And remember, to every one of you who walked this journey with me, we did it! We made it through, and that is no small feat. As we part ways with Drew Theological School, we do so with hearts full of gratitude, not fear. We leave behind memories that will last a lifetime, friendships that will continue to inspire us, and the knowledge that together we have triumphed over every challenge. A big thank you to the Drew family Your guidance has been a beacon for us. Your impact on our lives is indelible. As we venture into the future, we carry the hope and excitement for what lies ahead. And let us always carry with us the knowledge that no matter where our path may lead, God works with us, guiding us through every new beginning. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. Amen.
I don't feel no waste time. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that this road would be easy, but I don't believe you brought me this far to lead me. I don't feel no waste tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that this road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far. I don't believe he brought me this far. I don't believe he brought me this far. When I wanted to give up, you'll not let me give in. When I wanted to throw in the towel, you kept me going. And so I don't believe you brought me this far. When I look back over my life and I found out why I'm here, you didn't let me give up when I wanted to do. So I don't believe you brought me this far. I don't believe you brought me this far. So I don't feel no waste tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that this road would be easy. So I don't believe you come this far to be left. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rev Jackson, for that wonderful and inspiring music. And thank you, Yeun. I think I'm going to carry with me your saying that you found your voice in a language that was not your own. Much to be taken. It's now my distinct pleasure to announce the Theological School Scholar Teacher of the Year. And this is a secret. Nobody knows this. One student said this professor, quote, taught me how to theologically and biblically think about some of the most difficult stories in the biblical text and apply it to my context and other contexts from contexts around the world in light of envisioning and building a more compassionate community. A different student noted that this professor's, quote, lectures and lessons have imprinted into my consciousness, and I've incorporated the professor's wisdom, with attribution, of course, into subsequent papers, sermons, and Bible studies that I've led. One student described the professor as calm and really knows what they are giving to us as lessons, and they are so flexible and very easy to approach. Yet another student said that they are that rare professor who invites you to use your sanctified imagination and generously shares their own. One final word of student testimony states that this professor is an educator who imparts knowledge and nurtures, teaches, and inspires students. The professor's dedication to the success of their students is unparalleled. This professor is a prolific and influential scholar whose publications include Let My People Live, an Africana reading of Exodus, and co-editor of Life Under the Baobab Tree, Africana Studies and Religion in a Transitional Age. It is my great pleasure to announce this year's recipient of the Theological School Scholar Teacher of the Year, Dr. Kenneth Ngwa, the John Fletcher Hurst Professor of Hebrew Bible and Director of the Religion and Global Health Forum.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Lakin. I am the University Provost and the Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I am extraordinarily pleased to begin the conferral of degrees and the awarding of diplomas. Before we do that, I just want to call your attention to the special awards and recognitions that were previously awarded to our graduates at Honors Convocation. And these awards are listed in the commemorative programs which are available by request. Graduates, one last bit of instruction. Please remain seated until you are invited to rise and come to the platform. And once you have received your diploma, you will return to your seats. I now call upon the Dean of the Theological School, Edwin David Aponte, to present the candidates.
President Link, Provost Lakin, I am honored to present the candidates of the Drew University class of 2024 from the Theological School. The faculty and I recommend them to you wholeheartedly. On behalf of the Theological School, will the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Ministry, Master of Sacred Theology, Master of Divinity, Master of Arts in Religion, and Master of Arts in Theology and Ministry, please rise. President Link, I ask that you grant these candidates these degrees with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto attached and to which they are rightfully entitled.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Board of Trustees of Drew University, I confer upon you the degrees Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Ministry, Master of Arts in Religion, Master of Arts in Theology and Ministry, Master of Sacred Theology, and Master of Divinity for the class of 2024.
Y'all can sit until we call you up, all right? I now invite Meredith Hoxley Scholl, the Director of Doctoral Studies, the faculty dissertation directors, and the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy to join us on the platform, as guided by the marshals.
Dr. Kelsey Erin Wallace, Remembering the Future, Exodus, Science Fiction, and the Strategies of Memory. Dr. Wallace draws from the fields of memory studies, large group psychology, intertextuality, utopian studies, and cultural studies to examine and demonstrate how science fiction and biblical narratives create an expansive arena within which to imagine liberative futures, and in turn, remember the past. Using Michael Rothberg's concept of noix de mémoire, knots of memory, which suggests that all places and acts of memory are rhizomic networks of temporality and cultural reference that exceeds attempts at territorialization. Dr. Wallace critically examines how science fiction as a genre and as a discourse address questions of class, gender, race, ecology, and liberation. Her committee, Dr. Kenneth Ingwa, Chair, Dr. Stephen Moore, and Dr. Melanie Johnson DeBoffre congratulate Dr. Wallace. Oops. Dr. Hillary J. McLean. Theoeconomics and Matthew's parables, laboring and lending for God. Her advisor writes, financial language pervades New Testament teachings, images, and metaphors, yet few interpreters pay attention to the ways that economics have deeply structured Christian thinking and practice about money, wages, and labor. Dr. McCain's dissertation examines this hidden in plain sight problem, analyzing Matthew's parables about day laborers, tenant farmers, and slaves entrusted with money, closely examining how financial systems informed the creation, meanings, and history of interpretation of the parables to support, adapt, and redeploy those very same systems. Dr. McCain's keen insights into ethical interests develop these three theoeconomic reading strategies to actively resist Christian authorization of the vast exploitations driving 21st century US global capitalism. First, centering workers to examine how labor is valued or not, and Mead to do theological work. Then defying economic regimes of productivity, McCain magnifies inefficiency for the sake of multiplying meanings, all while insisting on hermeneutics of account and ability to expose whose economic interests are served by particular interpretations of these repeatedly read but not often economically interrogated texts and theologies. Her dissertation advisors, Melanie Johnson DeBoffrey, along with her committee, Stephen Moore and Jennifer Quigley, congratulate Hillary on her path-breaking and critically timely dissertation. Dr. Jennifer Madrand. Excavating Promised Land, the Geopolitics of Scripturalization in Palestine, Israel. Quote, in the late 18th and earliest 20th centuries, writes Dr. Jennifer Madrand, European and American Christians began to travel in large numbers to Palestine, many of whom were theologians and ministers with a desire to study the land of the Bible. Many of them spiritualized the landscape and were invested in pinpointing the specific locations of biblical stories throughout studies in biblical geography and archaeology, informed by a trend in biblical scholarship to approach the study of religion scientifically that arose around the emergence of European nationalism. Those interpretations consist of what she argues is a construction of the Promised Land paradigm, a phrase that does not exist in the biblical text, yet signifies a singular interpretation of scriptures related to the promise and conquest of the lands of Canaan. Using Vincent Wimbush's concept of scripturalization, along with critical theories and work of Palestinian liberation theologians and environmentalists, Israeli justice movements, womanist and feminist biblical scholars, decolonial approaches to biblical interpretation and contextual hermeneutics, Dr. Madrand develops a novel theory she calls scriptural greenlining to examine the politics of biblical interpretation and the promise of human and non-human flourishing in Palestine, Israel. The dissertation committee made up of Dr. Kenneth Ingwa, Dr. Melanie Johnson DeBoffrey, Dr. Althea Spencer-Miller, and Dr. Isaac Munther judged it to be deserving of distinction. Congratulations. Dr. R. Kyle Warren, toward a theopoetics of spatial justice and architecture. Along with Drs. Catherine Keller and Chris Bozell, this dissertation's transdisciplinary committee includes Dr. Ben Peterson and Dr. Diana Ramirez Yasso. Dr. Warren proposes a theological, or more precisely, a theopoetic framework for spatial justice and architecture. He analyzes the relational dynamics within built environments, juxtaposing the lived experiences of those without a home to those at home. Theopoetics becomes how neoliberal policies, material configurations, and historical religious values have shaped social interactions and the conceptualization of relational spaces. The dissertation examines how neoliberal policies, material configurations, and historical religious values have shaped these spaces. It highlights the plight of the homeless amidst ideologies of whiteness. The context of social service in Boston serves as the dissertation's very concrete case study, while he also offers a beautiful account of the Baltimore Cathedral. He argues that a theopoesis of spatial justice works well beyond sacred architecture. With its truly concrete practices, this dissertation is built to open new and needed transdisciplinary spaces. Dr. Abigail Wen Mohop. Dissertation entitled, Where Your Treasure Is, orchestrating a theological social movement on climate change, the Presbyterian Church USA, and divestment from fossil fuel. Dr. Mohop's advisor writes that her dissertation title says a great deal about her topic. Indeed, such an interdisciplinary dissertation needed an ethicist, Dr. Tracy West, a theologian, Dr. Chris Bozell, and a sociologist, Laurel Kearns, on the committee. This timely dissertation examines the fossil-free divestment movement, situating it in the context of the other contemporary divestment actions, and the history of religious involvement in South African apartheid movement and the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement in Palestine and Israel. Dr. Mohop argues that these are moral statements following the admonition in Matthew 6:21 that where your treasure is, there your heart is also. Based on participant observation and interviews with key activists, Mohop traces the long and creative campaign within the Presbyterian Church to challenge the economic status quo and respond to climate change, reminding fellow Presbyterians that they are charged to love and care for God's good creation, and that one cannot love both God and money. Dr. Jarrell Gary Rich. Bridging a Gap, the Role of African American Churches in Urban Environmental Justice. Dr. Rich's strikingly interdisciplinary dissertation, advised by a committee of Drs. Laurel Kearns, Arthur Presley, and Reverend Dr. Gary Simpson, is an exploration of why environmental justice should matter to Black churches through his examination of how 3 exemplary congregations have creatively responded to the environmental racism and injustice issues that impact their urban congregations, and in doing so, have created or furthered networks of Black churches tackling environmental and food justice issues. Situated at the intersection of Black church studies, environmental justice, and critical urban studies, Dr. Rich seeks to address the lacunae in each about the critical role of urban Black church environmentalism in fighting issues such as food insecurity, toxic water, soil, and air pollution. Rich also profiles other churches who are working to address these issues and climate change through efforts such as community development, solar installations, tree planting, and gardens as they continue to pursue the centuries-long work of community empowerment. All of the names? Yeah. Dr. Lisa Asadillo Cunningham. With a dissertation entitled Decolonial Hope as Praxis, Pedagogical Strategies of Freedom in the Philippines. Her advisor, quoting Asadillo, writes, U.S. Christian colonialism in the Philippines was a form of white Christian imperialist nationalism and ought to be understood as religious violence. Dr. Lisa Asadillo argues in her feminist theoethics dissertation that includes an exhaustive research methods combining a review of the 1970s through 1990s, archival ecumenical women's movement, and theology of struggle documents from the Philippines, ethnographic interviews conducted in the Philippines, as well as a decolonial theorist such as Asian feminist theoethicists. Her committee, Dr. Tracy West, Dr. Kate Ott, and Dr. Lester Edwin Ruiz, congratulate Dr. Asadillo on crafting such cutting-edge scholarship, insisting that decolonial hope must be lived out as praxis. Center erased communal histories of resistance and recognize women's pedagogical knowledge as an unconventional source of ethics. Dr. Asadillo's feminist, Filipinx American Christian theoethics provides a trans-Pacific framework steeped in an adamant anti-US imperialist refusal and decolonial innovation that her advisor attest is a truly path-breaking for the field of Christian ethics and beyond.
I now invite the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Ministry in Courageous Leadership, Pilgrimage and Spirituality, and Women's Religious Leadership to join us on the platform as guided by the Marshal.
Patty Van Soest Weikart with a project titled From Congregational Health Network to the Healing Tree. Elrica Adams Finney. Go tell it on the mountain, justice begins when the vulnerable are heard. A chaplain's research in South Africa and the U.S. Reverend Bonnie McCubbin. I love to tell the story, a pilgrimage towards racial justice in the United Methodist Church. Sherry A. Blackman, The Transformative Power of Creativity. Jennifer Lynn Pick, Birthing Place, Placemaking as Women's Work. James M. Gerke, Rediscovering Pilgrimage Spirituality in a Modern Age. Claire Ho-Jung Woo, Introduction to Cooperative Parish, the 5 Principles for Developing Homogeneous Parishes into Monocultural Cooperative Parishes. Adali Efrain Velez, Spiritual Practices Lead to Sustainable Social Justice, an Immigrant Expression. The Reverend Amina Rosano, Trauma-Informed Care, Recovery, and the Authentic Self, a practical book for spiritual communities. Reverend Roberto Che Espinoza, Becoming Trans, Trans Becoming, Towards a Trans Christology. Eric M. Brewer, Healing Hidden Wounds, the Resilience of Black Men and the Impact of Their Spirituality Upon Their Grief Recovery. Sonelia Denise Blue-Key, Moving Beyond Diversity Theater, Approaching Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion as a Form of Spiritual Formation. The Reverend Mona Frances Fitch Elliott, Striving Towards Racial Equity in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, From Words to Actions. The Reverend John Gottlieb Rule, The Road to Emmaus, Bringing the Local Congregation into Conversation with the Asset-Based Community Development Model. Wendy Angela Williams, Why the Church Remains Silent on Domestic Violence. Inspiration and exploration of the divine feminine, addressing it today. Sun Hyung Kim, Crossovering the Diasporic Korean Church, Recovering Church Identity through Tongdok. Hee-Moon Lee, Rediscovery of Biblical Koinonia, a case study of Central Methodist Church. Song-Soo Sim, Epic Ministry for Young Adults, a case study of Young Adult Church. Hee-Kyung Kim, Global Citizen Education Through Expanding Churches Publicity, a case study of a healing church. Jong-Wo So, a study of epic for faith education of next generation, a case study of Seongyuk Church. Min Ho Lee, The Effect of Tong Preaching on Faith Development in the Generation MZ, a case study on the youth group of Jumanjin Methodist Church. Byung-Ho Park, Tong Bible and Evangelicalism for Non-Church Area, a case study of Hansi Mission. Song Hyung Lee, The Bible and Relationship, Neighboring Churches, a case study of relationship building with Yangjun area pastors. Handwritten and Korean.
I now invite the Master of Arts in Religion, the Master of Theology and Ministry, the Master of Sacred Theology candidates to join us on the platform as guided by the marshals.
Unji Lee. Lexmana Yosalfa Leonard. Christina Burdick. Jeanzong Zen Bronson. Andrew Thomas Kramer. Jungwon Lim. Reverend Andrian Deepak. Jinsok Ro. Reverend John Davidson Johnson.
I now invite all Master of Divinity candidates to join us on the platform as guided by the marshal.
Christian Jamal Taylor. Christy Lynn Miller. Andrew William Paul Rounds. Mary Martha Ballard. Pauline Elizabeth Nyjander. Grace Elizabeth Loso Modla. Adrian Bruner. Jack Henry Tironi. Timothy Conaway. Justin David Spano. Yeon Kim. Jin Kim. Hyoyun Lee. Roland Jeremias Ramirez. Lumir Kabwan Kapen. Larine Umbabanza. Hedwig Mutwale Mukale. Caroline Ngunyama. Kalem Musoya Yumba. Sang Woo An. Xionu Lee. Youngwon Choi. Melissa McHenry. Sungwoo Kim. Terry L. Deans McFarland. Samuel Karanya in Kagwi. Danette Costin. Dongjung Lee. Yoon Kim. Lorado Rachel Pizzo. Gad Wandera Mega.
Congratulations to all our graduates and the families, friends, and other loved ones who have joined us here today for this special commencement. You new Drew graduates have accomplished great things, and there is no doubt that you will continue to do great things in the future. As you go from here, take with you the Drew University motto that is carved over the entrance to Seminary Hall, and some of you can see it on the giant flag on top of Mead Hall here. Dorian lavate, Dorian dote. Freely you have received, freely give. Freely give with not only the knowledge you have learned here at Drew, but also freely give with a deep commitment to your many communities. We hope that you received a thirst for lifelong learning and that you will freely give a vision of advancing justice, peace, and love of God, neighbor, and the earth. And wherever you go, may you also be guided by our unofficial theological school anthem, Draw the Circle Wide, today and every day. Guests, please remain at your seats until all graduates have recessed. Graduates will be directed off Mead Lawn by the marshals, and you'll be able to greet them either near Shakespeare Theater or wherever it's not too wet. I now invite you all to stand for a musical selection, Draw the Circle Wide, arranged by our own Mark A. Miller, followed by the benediction offered by University Trustee Bishop John Scholl.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle, draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Yeah! Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide.
Never be alone.
Draw the circle,
Let me our song. No one stands alone. Never walk alone. No. Forget. Draw the circle. Going wide. Let it be our song. No one stands alone. Stand by side. Never walk alone. No. Go it.
They said it couldn't be done, but you did it. They said it couldn't be done that a group of Drew graduates could gather early in the morning and pray and hold back the rain. You did it. Now, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to go. But as you go, remember what you came with. You came with a suitcase full of dreams. You came and we packed those dreams with deeper theology and biblical understanding. We packed those dreams with widening the circle and understanding justice and mercy and witness in all kinds of contexts around the world. We packed that suitcase with friends and colleagues that we leave here today with and will always remember and embrace. So as you go forth out into the world with your new suitcase, go. And when you encounter fears, remember there's gratitude in that suitcase. So pull out the gratitude, because in those fears are challenges that will help you to grow deeper and appreciate more what God has given you. As you go forth into this day and into this world, go forth and in the midst of conflict, in the midst of division, and in the midst of war, seek to build peace, a sustainable peace, by working with all people, especially the women and children. And as you go forth from this place, know that God goes with you. And may the grace of God, the joy of God, the peace of God, and the hope of God go with you. In the name of the one who is our Creator, our Redeemer, and our Sustainer. And all God's people said, Amen. God bless you all.
Hakuna wakaita sa Yesu, hakuna wakaita sa Je, hakuna wakaita sa Yesu, aku shinda, hakuna, oh hakuna, hakuna. Oh, hakuna wakaita sa Yesu, hakuna wakaita sa Je, hakuna wakaita sa Yesu, aku shinda, hakuna.
Oh, tatenderera, oh, tachaga.
Hakuna wakaita sa Yesu. Hakuna wakaita sa Yesu. Hakuna